Hello, everybody, and welcome to this Starch Solution Chat with Stacy Cross. We're so glad to have Stacy here with us today. How have you been, Stacy? I haven't talked to you in like a month, right?
Well, it's just been a few weeks. I feel like
Has
I
it
was
been a
just
few
here.
weeks? It feels
Maybe I'm
longer than that.
misremembering. Oh, yeah. I don't know. I feel like it was just a few weeks, but time is time is a thief. Time is weird.
It
I have
is,
no idea what's going on. I mean, I can't believe we're almost through September. First of
right?
all, it's my birth month, so I'm really like a little bit bitter about how quickly the month has gone because. And oh, can I share a quick? Okay, let's start with story time because obviously I have something to say.
All right.
Okay, so my birthday was September 8th, okay? Let me share with you this sequence of events that is just going to make you cry a river for me. My birthday was September 8th. That was like a Monday or something. And so it's like I'm not going to like celebrate my birthday on a Monday necessarily. So we didn't really do anything. The weekend before we were super busy, so like, man, we're not going to do anything. But two separate groups of my friends, my running partners, and then who was the second group? Oh, my one of my sons. His I'm really good friends with all of his friends' moms, and we get together periodically for things. Both of them, both of those two groups planned like a dinner for me. So I had two separate birthday dinners to go to that week for my birthday, and so it was like, yay, awesome. Well, then I got COVID,
Oh
like
no.
the day after my birthday. I know. So I got COVID, and I didn't just get COVID, I got COVID bad, you guys, like so super badly. Now I'm fully vaccinated and I've had it before, but I haven't had it for 3 years. Okay. So my dad explains to me that that is like a perfect storm, that I was like very vulnerable to COVID. So I got a really bad case of it. And so I couldn't go to either of my birthday celebrations. But because it's so much work for moms of, school aged kids to like find a date that works for everybody, both of those groups of people still got together without me. So I had no birthday party. I had no birthday dinner. I had nothing. And they all went out and did it anyway, which I encouraged them to do. I wanted them to do it. But anyway, so I feel a little bit robbed this year of my birthday, and so I would like a do-over. But the problem is, once you exit your birthday month, nobody wants to celebrate your birthday anymore. So I better like pull something together in the next week.
Well, Kathy's always a firm believer in that you should have a solid birthday month, but as you get older, sometimes you get to have a birthday year. So this has been Kathy's birthday year.
What year is it for her? Is it a special
60.
birthday?
60.
No,
Yeah.
she's 60.
Yeah.
I
She
would
turned 60 in
never have
April this
guessed
year.
that.
Yeah.
Why does she look so much younger than that?
I don't know.
Amazing. Good living, I guess.
How
It's
old
her
do you think I
partner.
am?
Well, I thought you were both about the same age and that you were younger than 60. So I have no idea now. Now I feel like I don't know anything.
I'm
How
58.
old are you?
I'm 58.
58. You're a baby. She robbed the cradle with you.
Yeah.
Oh, I love my husband is also just a little bit older than me. It's literally only a year and a half, but I love that he's older than me because I get to let him sort of try on that next stage. Like, what is it like to be 45? I don't know. I don't, and I get to see him do it. And somehow
Yeah.
that feels comfortable to me.
Yeah, that's kind of how it's kind of good watching Kathy do her birthday year, and
That's
then
fun.
because then I'm like, ooh, I'm going to have a birthday year too. So I'm already trying to
Absolutely,
plan
you
mine a little
will.
bit.
Yes, I love that idea. Birthday year. I'll have to hold on to that one. That will be me next year because I'll be turning 45 next year, and I
There
feel
you
like
go.
that's a nice
You get the
number to
whole
celebrate
year.
a birthday year.
You get a whole year.
Awesome.
Yep.
Yay. Good. That'll make up for my kind of want 44th birthday.
Well, we wish you a happy birthday. And if you want to have a little party right
Thank
now, like,
you.
I don't know, maybe I can go find some party hats or something. And I
I
don't
was
even
gonna
know if
look
I
around and
have
see if
any
I had any
around.
party stuff.
Uh,
I have a soccer ball. Yay! me. No, we'll just have a heart.
I had some like confetti looking stuff that was packed in a box, but I don't know, Kathy, what she did with it.
Oh,
So
man. Why is Kathy always putting the stuff we need away?
She's doing pictures for the book, and so like she has to get all the things out of the way so she can do that. So,
Yeah. Okay, fine. I guess we accept that.
Yeah. But, it's a lot when she does a book, because like everything will look kind of tidy, and then all of a sudden it's like there's stuff everywhere. There's this pile for this, and there's this pile for this, and then there's this pile for this, and then there's just like photo props everywhere and backgrounds and all sorts of stuff. And it gets a little crazy town. But
yeah, I bet.
We got some people saying happy birthday.
Thank you.
Deborah's here.
I really wasn't trying to make you all say happy birthday to me. I just wanted you to know my sad story about how I didn't really get a birthday celebration this year.
And Teresa says, hi there. Thanks for having Stacy on your show. We love Stacy. Awesome.
Oh, thank you.
TS is listening in from Southern California. Kitty Mommy says, that was my dad's birthday. Mine is September 5th, and I'm adopted. They brought me home when I was 3 days old, and I was his birthday present that year.
Oh, I love that. Happy birthday, Kitty Mommy. That's sweet.
Let's see. And Kitty Mommy says, my husband is 13 years younger than me. He keeps me young. I'm 64, and he's soon to be 51.
Wow.
That's good. That's crazy. I would have never guessed that you were 64, though, Kitty Mommy, at all. Let's see. And Teresa says, happy birthday, Stacy. And Deborah says, happy belated birthday, Stacy.
Thank you, Deborah.
And TS says, I like story time with Stacy.
Well, it was not planned. I just felt like y'all needed to hear. No one, I got to tell that to one of my family members, when I had COVID. They were calling and checking on me, and I was like, can I just be a baby about this for a second? And they're like, sure. I'm like, I had 2 parties planned and I didn't get to go, but they still had them. and this loved one of mine was like, that is genuinely the saddest thing I've heard this week. Oh,
it is kind of funny that they still had them, but I would have told people, just party on without me.
Yes, I insisted, because it's so hard, especially right now, the season of life that I'm in. These friends of mine, they all have kids that are my kids' ages, and so we are just packed out, especially in the fall, on a schedule. And so when you find a date that works for everyone, we even tried. It was like, oh, can we do it next week? And everyone's like, I can't do it. I go, forget it. Just go. Have fun. Send pictures. And they did. And it was cute. One of them, they sent this picture from the restaurant that they went to, because we were supposed to go to a restaurant to go have dinner and then go do an escape room. Have you done an escape room?
No, I have this huge fear of escape rooms, because Kathy made me watch that escape room movie where everybody gets killed in the escape room, and so I won't do that now.
We just watched that. That's so funny. Well, we were going to do an escape room, and so it that sounds so fun, right? And so they sent a picture from the restaurant. It was just a picture of because we had to make a reservation. It was my napkin and my water glass. And they're like, you were here. Oh my God. Me too. And I'm hacking up a lung in bed, dying virtually, it felt like. So, yeah. But it's okay. I'm all right.
I'm glad that you got through it, and that you're feeling much better, and that you can laugh about it now, right?
Yes. Got to be able to laugh about life,
Yeah.
Just have to.
I think that we both had COVID when we were traveling. When we first got to the UK, the first 5 days that we were there, we were staying in one hotel, and it's probably a good thing, because it started out with Kathy, the second day we were there, she got up and was like, I don't feel right. And then as the day
Oh,
went on, she started feeling worse and worse, and she was running a fever. And then within 48 hours, then I was running a fever. And I
yeah.
just, I was like, I kept feeling like, I wonder if we have COVID. But Kathy swears she thinks it was some kind of like flu bug, stomach bug thing, and that it wasn't
Hmm.
COVID. And I'm like, at this point, I'm okay if it was COVID, because then that just means that our immune system is better now. And we didn't get sick after that at all. Like, that was the only time we got sick in 2 months of travel. And even
That's
coming home,
amazing.
this is the first time we've come home and one of us hasn't gotten sick or hasn't been sick when we got home. I mean, like, so I don't know,
Yeah,
whatever it was,
good.
I think it kind of like went, check, you guys are done for a while. So
Yeah,
I hope
yeah, I
so.
totally believe in that. Yeah,
That
I
one.
really hope so. I don't know about the UK, but my dad is an infectious disease specialist here in the United States. And he told me, because I was like, I don't know if I have COVID. And I ended up testing and I was positive. But before I was positive, I was like, who knows? I don't know. And he was like, Stacy, there's really not anything else going around right now, respiratory illness wise.
Yeah.
It's really just COVID right now. I'm like, well, there you go. There you
Yeah.
have it. But I wanted to share, I lost my sense of smell and taste this
Oh,
time.
wow.
And yeah, and he was telling me, oh, we're really not seeing that, Stacy. That's kind of crazy. And I'm like, yeah, I can't explain it, but I lost it completely for a week.
Oh, wow.
And that was a really interesting experience. Now, I did lose the one other time I had COVID, I did lose taste and smell briefly. I don't even remember how long it was, but this time it just kept going. Like, I was like, how long is this going to last? But it was so interesting to relate to food
Yeah.
during that time, because I remember I had a friend long, 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 long time ago who had a head injury, and her head injury permanently took her sense of taste. Like,
Ooh.
she lost it, and smell, lost it completely forever,
Hmm.
right? And she was sharing with us one time, telling us that, you would think that if you lose your sense of taste and smell, like, you'd lose all this weight, because all of a sudden, food is no longer about like tantalizing your senses and your taste buds and everything. And so it would be really easy to like eat healthy and all this stuff. And she shared with me this many years ago. She said, it's actually the opposite. She goes, I have a really hard time controlling my weight and keeping a healthy body weight, because I feel like I'm always just trying so hard to seek out pleasure in food, because I can't taste it.
Right.
I'm like chasing after this thing that can never be gotten,
Right.
basically. And I remember that made a lot of sense to me back then when she said it. But then, this couple of weeks ago when I lost it myself, I totally experienced that. It was like, I'd be sitting there, and it was interesting is I eat oatmeal every day and I love it. And then suddenly it's like, ew, gross. This is a terrible texture. And I had never felt the texture was bad at all, but without a taste,
Right.
suddenly the texture of oatmeal was like no bueno at all whatsoever.
Yeah.
But what was interesting is like a banana. The texture of a banana was so enjoyable. And in
Really?
normal life, I just like bananas okay. Yeah, I just like in regular life, I'm just like, they're okay. I could take or leave them. I mean, I eat them out of convenience, but they're not like my favorite thing in the world.
Right.
But somehow when I didn't have a sense of taste, they were like the best thing. And I would have never guessed that the texture of a banana would be so satisfying. But I would just like bite into the banana and be like, this is amazing.
So there was nothing that was like strong enough that it could get through the non-taste barrier. Like, you couldn't taste anything.
Not one thing. However, I followed the advice that I found online, because I was like, how do I bring this back as soon as possible? Because I have a couple trips coming up where I'm going to see family, and I want to be able to enjoy my food for my travel and stuff. And all the advice online was like, continue, even though you can't smell it, continue to go and smell strong smells, because your nerves, your olfactory nerves will like kick in, that helps them basically recondition themselves to working again. And so I was opening my fridge. I was getting like the lemon juice bottle out, like a couple times a day, opening that up and just taking a big whiff.
Yeah.
My husband has this canister of coffee. I would just open that and just sniff, 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 sniff. So I don't know if that actually did help bring it back or not, but I got it back completely. Like now it's probably been 2.5, maybe 3 days, and I've had my sense of smell back completely. So it was completely gone, like 100% for a week. And then I probably had another week where it just was like so-so, and now it's back.
That's Kathy's nightmare scenario. Every time she starts thinking that she might have COVID, that's the first thing she's like, oh my God, I cannot lose my sense of taste or smell, especially smell.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of her thing, is how she does spice blends and how she smells things. And if she can't smell it, then she's just like, I don't know what I would do. I don't know how I would cook. So, she's always worried about that. So,
Yeah, and that's y'all.
Here's to boosters.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, we got our flu shots this week when we had our doctor's appointments, but they didn't have any COVID shots yet. So we still have to get our COVID shots for the fall COVID shots.
Yeah, hopefully in the next couple of weeks we should be getting that. But, I can totally identify with her fear, because I was still cooking dinner for my family. Like once I was past my sickness, and I still had lost my taste and smell, I realized, man, I depend on smell and taste so much in the kitchen that I was like making meals for my family and then just like putting them in front of them and being like, is it any good? And thankfully, somehow I was still able to, like, Kathy may be surprised, like you still have that intuition about what will be good and what won't. But that was really hard for me. It was really, really tough.
Well, I think if that would happen to me, I think I have a whole lot of friends, some of them may be watching now, that would be like, ooh, let's go over and start feeding Cheryl all this hot stuff and see if she can taste it, because I'm such a spice wimp.
Oh.
It would be interesting to see if I could actually, if I still got heat.
Okay. You don't. I mean, you do. Yes. Yes, you do. So that is one thing I tried. I can't believe I didn't even tell you about this when you were asking, was there anything strong enough? So I decided, you know what? I'm going to put chili powder on my food and see if that helps wake things up. Cheryl, my whole mouth was on fire.
Really?
Fire.
So you could taste it, but it still put your mouth on fire.
Taste it. This is what I'm telling you is so bizarre about it, is I couldn't taste it, but my mouth felt it. Like, I'm sure there's somebody here who's like a scientist and could explain to us the difference between taste and feel. Because part of the hot thing is the feeling, like a sensation.
Yeah.
And I still had that. And so it was awful. Like I sprinkled way too much, and I assumed that I wouldn't be able to taste it, and it blew my face off.
Wow.
It's terrible.
Well, so now I know that I can just be like, nope, not doing it. Stacy did it. It didn't go well.
You should try it. You should have the experience, because it is really trippy to not.
I don't want to get COVID to have that experience, though.
I'm destroying your mouth.
Yeah, I just don't want to have COVID to have that experience.
No, I don't recommend it.
Teresa says, a friend of hers who lost her sense of taste and smell because of COVID said she seeks out those comfort foods that she remembers.
Yeah. Texture. It really is. I mean, for me, texture became the whole thing. Like if it was a nice, enjoyable texture or comforting, something I was accustomed to feeling, I was actually able to enjoy my food. But it was a challenge for sure.
And Apple says, I lost my sense of smell about 8 years ago. It completely altered my experience with food. It worked out all right with me, though, and I'm not mad about it. So.
Well, good. Yeah.
So Apple, just the follow-up question. So you still do not have a sense of smell? Is that how I'm understanding that? Because, wow, I didn't know that. That's crazy. And TS has a question for you. It's question time for Stacy.
Yay, let's go.
I take sublingual B12 and oral iron. Both levels are very low. I will see a gastro in 2 weeks. NP said stop oral, continue B12, and chow down iron-rich plant foods. Any good, strong, iron-rich foods that you can recommend?
Yes. Well, first of all, Google it, because I'm not going to be able to give you an extensive list, off the top of my head, but greens are great, high in iron. I believe tofu is high in iron as well. But the key with iron and beans, and I believe the darker the bean, the higher the iron content, usually, if I'm remembering that correctly. So those are all great sources. The thing you want to make sure you're doing with your iron sources is that you're eating them with vitamin C, because vitamin C helps greatly increase your absorption of iron. So if you're going to have a salad with beans and greens, great, high in iron, fabulous. Have, some bell peppers with it, cut them up and throw them in there, or tomato, or, have some orange slices on the side or something like that.
Okay. Awesome. And let's see. SFOS says we have both Moderna and Pfizer COVID shots right now in Maryland, which is awesome. I'm not sure what we have here. I haven't actually went. I was going to check when I go to Costco to pick some stuff up later. And TS says, when I had COVID a while back, taste and smell went away. Everything tasted like rust to me. It's better now, but I still can't taste certain things like apples, and I can't handle my fave sriracha sauce. That's interesting. You would think, I don't know. It's just like, so before she had COVID, she could handle her favorite sriracha sauce, and it seems like now it's come back some, but now it's different. So,
it sounds like she's saying she can't taste it. She still can't taste sriracha.
Okay.
That's what it sounded like to me. Maybe I misheard that.
Okay. Maybe TS can clarify for us on that.
Yeah.
Tanya May is here. Hello, Tanya May. It's good to see you. And Apple said, I arrived late. Just noticed it's Stacy's birthday. Let's celebrate that. Yes.
It's not my birthday. It's not.
I was trying to find confetti or something to throw, and Kathy moved all that stuff, so I'm not sure where it is right now, but we'll see.
Sweet. Thank you.
And Teresa Case says, I have heard that splashing vinegar on greens helps bring out the nutrients. Is that correct? Is vinegar a source of vitamin C?
I think that's a different thing. I think vinegar, I don't think it's the vitamin C. So what we're talking about, what I was referencing earlier, is iron-rich foods. In order to absorb as much of the iron as possible, you want to pair that with something that's high in vitamin C. Vitamin C increases the absorption of iron. The vinegar thing, I've heard that. I don't know how significant of a role it plays. If that's compelling to you to try to get as many nutrients as you possibly can from your greens, and I don't see any harm in it. Vinegar is pretty acidic and can be a little bit tough on your teeth. So I wouldn't be drinking vinegar. We do not recommend that at all whatsoever. But something, a dressing, a salad dressing or something that's vinegar based, is probably a great way to do that. But it's not essential. It's one of those maybe probably in the weeds a little bit types of things. But, if that's your preference and you want to, if you like vinegar, it certainly won't hurt to splash a little on your greens.
So that leads me to believe that those southern collard greens that I like so much would probably be really good.
Yeah.
With the greens and the vinegar in there. So
I
love those. They're so good. And Tia says, oh, thank you. Didn't realize about tomatoes.
Yeah. About the vitamin C. They're high in vitamin C, aren't they?
I think so.
Am I misremembering that? Uh-oh.
And Apple says, squash season is upon us. Does Stacy like them, and any favorite ways of eating them?
Yeah. Yes, tomatoes are a good source of vitamin C. I just had to look that up real quickly. I love all the different squashes. I love them. And I by and large, don't cook from recipes very often. If I'm trying to like, impress somebody or I'm making something for someone else, I will do a recipe. But for myself, I just love the pure, simple taste that foods have on their own.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'll add salt and pepper to stuff, but that's basically it. So when it comes to the squashes that are out right now, so like butternut squash or pumpkin, or the one that I love so much is acorn squash. Oh my goodness, I love acorn squash so much. I will actually just take the whole thing and cook it in my Instant Pot. So I put like an inch of water on the bottom, and then I bring the rack, put whatever the squash is, I put the whole thing on the rack, right? And then just turn the Instant Pot. I'll usually do, let's say it's like a, medium-sized acorn squash. I want to say I'd probably put it in there for like 15 minutes on high and then do natural release afterwards. And then when I get it out, I just cut it in half, scoop out the insides, all the stringy, seedy stuff, scoop that all out, and then just eat it as is. Maybe a little salt and pepper, but sometimes not even that, and just eat it straight out of the shell of the squash itself. And it's just so delicious, especially when they're in season as they are right now.
Mm. That sounds good. I like when Kathy makes us like butternut squash steaks.
Oh yeah.
So she just,
so good.
cuts a ring of it and then, puts it on the plate, but she cooks it down somehow. I think she does it in the Instant Pot as well. And it's just like, this nice round thing. And when you look at it, it's just like really visual appealing. And then sometimes she'll put a little cinnamon on it or something too. And it's just, oh, it's so good. I love those. This is the time of the year that we get to have those quite frequently.
Yes. So good.
Let's see. Tanya May says, I splash balsamic vinegar on my greens. It's good. TS's follow-up. Yes, now the heat of sriracha is too strong, like my mouth is super sensitive to heat. Even pace is too strong now. So I love the heat, all the heat before COVID. So she's sad
Interesting.
Now. That is interesting, isn't it? Wow.
Yeah.
Well, but I have this weird thing, like it makes Kathy crazy because one day I am so sensitive to heat and I can't have hardly any heat. Black pepper will set me off. And then 3 days later, I'm like going, oh, bring on the chili tofu, because I'm just like, bring it on. Like, because who knows what goes on in my taste buds or whatever receptors, but sometimes I can have the heat. And it depends where it hits me in my mouth by how I can handle it or not. And it's just very unusual. And we have not been able to narrow down exactly which spices it is because it changes constantly. It's crazy.
Okay, I'm gonna suggest an experiment for you.
Okay.
That's a little bit gross. I'm just like, I love to know why. I'm a why asker. I want to know why about everything. So it's almost never enough for me to just go, oh, well, sometimes I taste hot and sometimes I don't. Oh, well, who knows? No, I want to know why. Okay. So here's my immediate idea for an experiment for you to run. Do you ever scrape your tongue when you brush your teeth?
I have, yeah, we've got the little things, yeah.
Okay, I'm just curious if it has anything to do with the microbes on your tongue and whether you have that built up. So like maybe it's later in the day, farther out from when you brushed your teeth in the morning. And so you have that buildup of the film. Sorry to be gross, but like, a little bit of buildup on your tongue.
I get what you're saying, yeah.
As opposed to when it's a clear, your tongue has been cleared recently by either tongue scraping or brushing your teeth and then brushing your tongue. Yeah. I wonder if that makes any impact. And so the way I would experiment with that is get something spicy and taste it and then get in there and scrape your tongue and see if it changes. Makes any difference.
That's a great idea, actually. That's a great idea. You might have to do that. Kitty Mommy says,
gross, but
it's not though. It's not like, you're just cleaning your mouth. It's not like a big deal.
Yeah. Right.
So Kitty Mommy says, Esseltyn suggests vinegar on greens to promote nitric oxide production, which dilates arteries and protects the endothelium wall lining to prevent plaque formation.
Yeah. Okay, I've heard that. I have heard it. Okay, but what I'm saying though is that I don't know how much of a difference that makes. You know what I'm saying? Like some of this stuff when they show it in experimentation and they have studies that they've published on this stuff, the difference is like, instead of absorbing the 70% of the nitrous oxide that's available in greens, you absorb 74%. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's like if it was like making a massive difference and a studied, observable difference in how people do with heart disease, like having it or not having it, then that would be something we would probably be emphasizing in the McDougall program. So that's why I say it might be a little bit in the weeds, just because there's so many pieces of guidance out there like that that Dr. McDougall looked into and studied and all this stuff and just went, it's not enough. It doesn't make enough of a difference to warrant us adding it in as a requirement or a guideline. Having said that, it doesn't hurt. I put vinegar on my greens. I mean, mostly because I just love vinegar as a dressing. But knock yourself out. Knock yourself out. The only reason I caution you about some of these things that are more in the weeds is that what can happen is that I'll give you a better example than vinegar, because like most people are pretty okay with splashing some vinegar on greens, right? It's not a big deal. But one that I hear a lot is, okay, you've got to add turmeric to all your food, and not just turmeric, you've also got to add black pepper because the black pepper activates the turmeric or whatever. Well, what if you don't like turmeric? What if you dislike it even worse when you add pepper? And so people are pouring spices and things into their food that they do not enjoy. And if you prioritize a nutritarian type of approach, meaning you're trying to absorb as many nutrients from every single bite of food that you have 100% of the time, and that's the most vitally important part of taking in food, that for most people will not be something that you can or will want to sustain long term if you are not enjoying that food. So I'll tell you straight up, do I try to incorporate turmeric in my food every once in a while? I do. I don't like it. I don't like turmeric. And so at some point, I just stopped dumping turmeric in my food because it was like, okay, like when you're eating a whole foods plant-based diet, do I need to get every single last little nutrient at all times? I'm already flooding my system with nutrients with everything that I eat. So do I really have to also then add something that I don't even enjoy, like turmeric and pepper, to my food just to make sure that I never, ever, 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 ever miss a nutrient? And decided for myself that no, I would rather enjoy my food and not pour stuff on it that I don't even enjoy. Hopefully that helps explain why we try to stay out of the weeds on this kind of stuff.
Teresa says, in the South, people would splash spicy vinegar on their collard greens like the juice from pickling jalapenos or other spicy peppers, which was a little too much heat for me. My family did not use those things. Probably, if my grandmother would have tried to use any of those things, there would have been like civil unrest in the household because most of the family doesn't like hot stuff. So she was from the South, and then we all grew up in the Midwest, so we have that Midwest palate. And then she was trying to throw all the Southern food on us, but yeah, so she would have to tone stuff down a lot for us because we would all just be like, I'm not eating that.
Yeah.
Apple says, I don't cook from recipes often either, and last night had yellow split peas with butternut squash. Ooh, that sounds delicious. Let's see. And let's see. And Elizabeth is here. Hey, Elizabeth. It's great to see you. And Tanya May says, I have a sensitivity to turmeric. So she doesn't use it very much. And I don't know how to say that. I hope I'm saying this right. So Kitty Mommy says, I use Blate Papes for the nasty tasting stuff. It's a potato starch pouch you can fill up with those things if you're interested in getting in stuff like turmeric, black pepper, etc. Huh. So you just put it in the pouch and then you just eat the pouch kind of thing? I don't know. That sounds interesting.
All right, I am going to, if that's what she's saying, she puts it in a pouch and then swallows it, I wouldn't recommend that. I wouldn't. Because we have taste buds and preferences for a reason. And this is similar in listen, I don't want to, you always run this stuff by your doctor, okay? So I don't want to like totally poo-poo a conversation that you've had with your doctor. But one thing that really bothers me is when doctors or trainers or athletes recommend people taking sodium tablets for whatever reason, like, you know, somebody has low blood pressure or somebody maybe in their blood work, there's low sodium or something like that, which is very rare. And it's usually associated with undereating and that kind of thing. But anyway, I don't like supplements. We don't like supplements because what it's doing is you're taking whatever that thing is and you're putting it into a pill form and you're swallowing it so that you can bypass your taste buds, which I would posit that doesn't make a lot of sense to me from the standpoint of our natural designed taste buds and what they do for us, for indicating what we need, what we don't need, what is too much, what is too little. If you're putting, you know, salt is the best example that I have, into a tablet and you're swallowing it, you're not having that experience of, whoa, this is way too salty, I'm going to stop eating it. And your taste buds do help inform when you've gotten into something that you shouldn't be eating, right? So I don't love that. I don't love the idea of let's put it into a capsule and take it like medicine. Obviously, to each his own, like go for it if that's what you want to do. But for me personally, from a medical and like common sense approach, I don't really want to bypass my taste buds. So, and I'm not saying that if you're a person who doesn't like turmeric, that means it's bad for you or something like that. That's not what I mean. I just mean at that point, then you're basically supplementing with those things. And that's where you get in trouble. It's like supplements aren't regulated. And what if you have too much? What if you have too little? What if, you know, I would rather just not worry I'm not worried. Okay, I'll put it this way. I am not worried that I'm going to lose years of life because I don't prefer turmeric. I really don't believe that. You know, I just really, really don't believe that turmeric is essential. I think that the broad strokes of what we know lead to wellness and longevity and health are eating lots of fruits and vegetables, eating a predominantly plant-based diet with lots of fruits and vegetables, that a starch-centered diet is one that sustains you and provides everything that your body needs and all of that. Those are the broad strokes of the recommendations that we make. And I stick with those because I think those are the ones that really make the difference at the end of the day about, you know, disease prevention, disease reversal, and that kind of stuff.
That makes a lot of sense too. I mean, there's some things that was just sitting here thinking, ooh, if I could put that in a capsule, that would be so much easier for me. But I see your point on that. I do.
But what do you think that you need so much that you're missing that you wish you could put in a capsule? Like, give an example of that.
Like I don't like spinach. I don't like it cooked. I really don't like it raw. I know it's extremely good for me, but I just do not like it.
You don't need it. You do not need spinach. You don't. Now, if you want to eat greens, you just got done saying you love collard greens.
I do,
Fabulous.
yeah.
Eat collards.
Yeah.
Eat collards. Do not need to eat spinach. And for some people, too much spinach is a problem because they're prone to kidney stones, and eating too much spinach can be bad for that. So that's exactly my point. That's why I wanted to get an example from you, is there's not really anything that you just essentially have to have. And so much so that if you don't like it, you better just get out there and get a capsule. The only exception being B12, but everyone should be supplementing with B12 because it's a bacteria that grows in soil. Our soil is largely depleted of B12 because of modern agriculture and farming practices. And so that's why we supplement with B12. People who eat a plant-based diet especially need B12. So everybody needs it, but especially people on a plant-based diet. Why? Because they aren't eating animals who are eating B12 out of the ground, or in most cases, actually now in the United States, that animal is being given B12 vitamins. Okay, so just to make sure everybody understands, finding out that somebody who is a plant-based eater needs to be on B12 does not shoot a hole in the plant-based movement. Like, gotcha. You guys are missing B12. You've got to supplement with B12. That's proof that the plant-based diet is wrong. That is not the case. B12 is a bacteria that grows in soil. And it used to be plentiful in our soil, and all the little farm animals would run around and dig in the dirt and eat the grass. And so they would naturally take in B12, which would be sent down to their intestines and then sent, and could be found in all of their tissues because B12 is essential. And then we would eat that animal's flesh, that animal's muscle. And so we would, by proxy, take in B12. Well, nowadays, for those of us who eat a plant-based diet, obviously we're not eating animal flesh, and we're also not, most of us, digging around in the dirt and eating dirt, right? Our food is very clean. By the time it gets to the grocery store, it's been washed with all kinds of rinses, usually. So you have to take a B12 supplement. However, even people who are eating animal products, especially people over the age of 50, I don't know why. Don't ask me why that cutoff. This is just what I learned from Dr. McDougall. Everyone who is over the age of 50, especially, needs to be taking a B12 supplement because we are no longer getting B12 from the dirt. We're getting it from animals, eating animals. And even that is not oftentimes enough because the animals aren't even getting it from the dirt. Like, the dirt, the soil is depleted of B12. And now they're giving animals B12 supplements. And so you're just removing the middleman by not eating animals. You see what I'm saying? You're taking this supplement. Otherwise, that animal is taking a supplement and then you're eating the animal. You're getting the supplement from them. So either way, you are being supplemented with B12. Sorry, that was a really long explanation, but hopefully that made sense in the end.
No, that was excellent. And Apple and Teresa also said, going back to one of the previous conversations, that thanks Stacy for that clarification, that helped. And Apple says, exactly, B12 is an environmental nutrient, not a food nutrient. And our soils are extremely denatured and demineralized.
Correct.
And
yes.
Red Lentil, Yellow Lentil says, should we be taking mud capsules?
I wouldn't recommend it. I think that's why we don't like the taste of mud.
Well, when you were talking about the dirt stuff, I was like, eat a beet if you want to taste dirt, because to me they taste like just
earthy. It's a very earthy
dirt.
Taste.
I fell on the playground enough as a kid in Michigan and Ohio to know what that nice black dirt tastes like in my mouth, and that's exactly what a beet tastes like to me. So
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
but also I am eating beets more now because I guess, our taste change and things. And I started out with the yellow beets, the golden beets, and those
Yeah.
were a little less dirt tasting to me. And then I very slowly moved into the full on beet category. In fact, we went to a restaurant in Seattle that has a special menu all the time. They just develop a menu, and then that's the menu they serve for like a week or two, and then they switch it to something else. And the time that we went, every single item was derived from beets.
Wow.
And it was delicious. And there was not a one that I did not like. And so since then, I've been kind of on the beet train because I was like, these things are really
Nice.
versatile. So yay, beets. So I'm actually
Yay,
eating
beats.
them.
Good.
And Apple says, yay, Stacy. Thank you, truth.
Awesome.
And Teresa Case asks, how essential is it to buy organic fruits and veggies?
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, this question's tough because it actually feels very much like talking politics because people are so impassioned about the organic versus non-organic debate. And so I will gracefully bow out by saying it's non-essential. It's non-essential. However, I think everyone has access to information about what is in and on non-organic fruits and vegetables and can make the decision for themselves based on how important that is to you, how much it bothers you or doesn't bother you. I will be honest and share my opinion. This is for me, this is how I make decisions. Is that I like the idea of organic fruits and vegetables. And so I do try to buy those as often as I can for a couple different reasons. One is I like the idea of my stuff not being as heavily sprayed with pesticides. I like that. That just sounds good to me. But the other thing is, I heard at one point and learned about that some of the chemicals that are sprayed in these farms are really hazardous to the health of the farmers. And so I heard at some point along the way that really what you're doing when you buy organic is you're putting your vote in the column of like safety for farmers, whether that's fully true or not. And I don't, like I said, I don't want to get too political and I don't want to, start a riot or something like that. But for me personally, that was very compelling because I just don't want to harm anybody. I just don't want anyone else to get sick or hurt or get cancer or mesothelioma just because they're out there in the field harvesting my strawberries. So it's sort of like casting a vote, but then there's also other times where it is certain things are cost prohibitive and I just go, I'm buying this conventional right, because the price for organic is insane right now.
Yeah, and I think too there's a whole nother aspect of it, and I wish Kathy was on with us because she's very knowledgeable in this because she actually was doing some work for the Idaho Potato Commission, a Potato Growers Association or something like that, and they actually flew her and some other people out several years back to Iowa, and they actually like took her on tours and showed her stuff and things like that. And one of the things that she learned was that it's so very, very expensive to get the organic label. So a lot of times if you go to your farmer's market, if you go to your local farmer's market, they may not be marked organic, but if you ask that farmer, he may tell you, I don't use these certain pesticides or I don't use pesticides, but it's too expensive for the small farmer to file all that paperwork and do all the thing and jump through all the hoops and pay all the money that you have to pay to get that organic stamp. So I would always recommend, and this is kind of what we do, is if you have a local farmer's market, if you have access to farmers directly in your area, go to them. Go to them and get your fruits and vegetables whenever you can, because chances are they're probably pretty close to organic. Because like you said, those
Yeah.
guys they're not going to put stuff all over their food. They don't want to hurt themselves. They don't want to hurt other people. So I think
Right.
that's,
Yeah, I really love that. That seems like a really logical approach. Just try to buy local as much as you can for that
mm-hmm,
reason and support local farmers and all of
mm-hmm,
that. I think it's great. And then I also just think, at the end of the day, sort of to get back to Teresa's question, how essential is it? It's not essential.
mm-hmm.
It's not essential. You have to just decide, especially when you're eating this way all the time. Now, okay, I'm going to throw something out there. If you were coming to me, I know Teresa, okay? I know Teresa, I know what Teresa eats. So I feel comfortable saying to her, it's not essential that you get organic fruits and vegetables. Now, if it was some other random person who just happened upon this channel and had no idea what we were talking about, and they eat bacon double cheeseburgers for lunch every day and, an egg McMuffin for breakfast and, all the stuff, right? And that's what they're eating. And on top of that, they're asking me about organic fruits and veggies. Number one, I would say whatever fruits and vegetables you will eat, get those.
Yeah.
Do not let cost be a factor for you at all whatsoever. But then also, if you're talking about cutting down on environmental toxins by buying organic or not, I would say, hey, buddy, like, cut down however you can, because right now you are at the highest possible risk level because of what you eat. So, cut down first. I mean, if you can stop eating burgers, yes, please do that. Please do that. That's going to be like the worst of the worst, right? All the processed meats and processed red meat and all of that stuff. But in addition to that, I would say, like, yeah, you probably need to really protect yourself because you are very vulnerable because of the diet that you eat.
I mean, I used to go like years, I guess probably as long as 2017. I was still going to Burger King every morning and having my breakfast at Burger King. And, and then I would go out for lunch with wherever we were going out for lunch. And this, none of that stuff was healthy. I was just going
Right.
along with the flow with everybody at work and eating whatever. We ate lots of pizza. We ate, lots of burgers and things like that. And we never went any place that was good for us, because what was the thing we were looking for? Wherever we could get the cheapest meal we could.
Yes.
And so I've often heard people say, I can't afford to eat vegan. It's too expensive. And so, yes,
Wow.
I agree with you. If that's the person you're talking to and they say to you, well, I can't afford to eat vegan, I have to keep eating the junk because it's all I can afford. That's the person you say, you don't have to get organic. Because I think a lot of times people, when they first start thinking about even like progressing to a better diet, they hear all the stuff online and everything about, and everybody's like, oh, you got to eat organic. Oh, you got to, and you don't have to eat organic. Just do what you have to do so that you can afford to get off of that crack that you keep putting in your mouth every day. Because that's basically what it is. Like, I swear they put stuff in it to make you addictive. Like, I would be grumpy and really mad if I didn't have time to stop at Burger King. I would just be like, like some people are on coffee, and whatever they have to do to get off of that is so important. So important.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's whenever I hear people talk about, oh, I can't go plant-based because it's so much more expensive, I'm like, you are so absolutely wrong. But what I realize is that what they're doing is they're trying to replace whatever meat, cheese, egg, dairy, whatever, with the vegan equivalent of that. So they're going out and they're looking at egg prices and going, wow! And then they're looking at the price of just egg and they're like, it's twice as much, or whatever. And so they're like, it's so much more expensive. But what they don't realize is there's a difference between going vegan and for an ethical reason or whatever. Vegan diets can be very unhealthy and very expensive, especially if you're trying to replicate those old animal-based items that you were eating like a few days ago, right? Whereas if you're going plant-based, whole foods plant-based, there's no cheaper way to eat on the planet than eating rice and beans and
Yeah.
oats
Yeah.
and, like sprinkle in some fruits and vegetables here and there, but it's so inexpensive. Think about bread. Bread is so cheap,
Mm-hmm.
obviously it's getting more expensive. And of course, the fancier the bread, it can get expensive. But when you are looking at beef prices in 2025, I mean, unbelievable. Look, okay, so we just happened to walk by. My husband and I, we were at the grocery store the other day, and we were like, hey, you know what? We're never in the meat section anymore. It's been 8 years since we've even bought meat at the grocery store. What does it cost? Because we hear everybody talking about how expensive everything's getting right now. And so we went over there and we found the cheapest cut of beef that was available in the section, and it was $12 a pound. Do you know how much it costs to go get dry beans? It's like $1 a pound, guys. $1 a pound, and that's dry. And once you cook it, you get like 3 times that volume.
Yeah.
So don't let anybody get away with saying going vegan or going plant-based is more expensive. Believe me, it is not. We eat very cheaply around here. It's pretty fabulous.
Yeah. I'll admit when I was first trying to stop eating all the junk food and things, and I was at that point just trying to be vegan. I used to eat a lot of the meat replacements because for me, it was easier for me to have something that was familiar that helped me make that transition. But honestly, I have to say that once I started eating this way consistently, once we went whole food plant-based instead of just vegan, and I was eating more tofu and tempeh and things like that, like I didn't want that stuff anymore. It wasn't hitting the spot for me anymore. Now it's, now I want the more, I don't even want to say simple foods, but that's kind of what it is. It's kind of just the simple stuff, and I don't have to have, I don't always have to have something that reminds me of something that I ate when I was a kid anymore. There are a few things that I still keep in my thing, like, tomato soup with noodles in it. This is just like my huge comfort food, but very easy to make vegan. So, and then Kathy makes the milk for it, and she makes me a tomato powder. It's easy to get those things as you get into it. But when you're first starting out, you're going to have some of that stuff. But if you don't have to stay eating that stuff, right? If it helps you transition, great. But you don't have to use that to transition. You can, just like you said, go straight to beans and rice. Who doesn't like beans and rice?
Yeah, so good.
I mean, when we go to New Orleans, that's all I want is beans and rice. And you'd think I'd want something different because that's all I eat at home is beans and rice. But I mean, it's...
They put a lot of extra love into their beans and rice in New Orleans.
They do. They do.
They're special for sure.
So Tanya's joining us, or Tanya's joining us. She said, I ate a very meat, cheese, junk omni diet until April 2021. And she says, my poor body. I don't prioritize organic. I just can't afford to. I do my best with my choices. It's never perfect, always vegan or plant-based. And that's fantastic. I mean, you do what works for you, and you can't go wrong, right? So if you can't afford to, I mean, she's got a bunch of kids like you do. She's got a house full of boys, I think. And it's like, you can't feed those kids with organic food. I mean, especially if they're growing, they're going to just like eat you out of house and home. So that's true. Elizabeth says that I would be proud of her. She's eating mushrooms a little bit now. She said they're in a Well Your World recipe I really like, and I don't hate them anymore. Don't want to say I like them, but I don't hate them. That's absolutely fantastic. I love mushrooms, so it's it's funny that, but I think, Elizabeth, if I remember, you liked beets all along though too. So we kind of like got each other doing that.
Well, I tell my kids this all the time, and it's definitely true for kids, but it's even true for adults, which is your tastes change over the
Mm-hmm.
course of your life. So
Mm-hmm.
keep trying stuff that you think you don't like. Every year, just give it a try. You know, my two best examples are mushrooms and olives. I hated mushrooms and olives until I turned 40. And without any explanation at all whatsoever, I suddenly loved them. And I love both so much. And
You know,
I can't even tell you how much I hated them before. I really don't know why I suddenly started liking them at
yeah.
40.
Well, I think it's funny because I can't remember what the time frame is, and Kathy probably knows, but there's actually a number. There's actually like a number of years that they say every this many years your tastes change, and it's like a
Yeah.
documented thing. And so I think that's very
Wow.
interesting. Yeah, I can't remember
That's
what the number of
interesting.
years is, but it's like I don't know. But I've noticed that in
Huh.
myself, like.
Yeah.
And Teresa says whole food plant-based diet is quite affordable. And Tanya says, sadly, my husband still eats meat, cheese, and processed crap, so our grocery bill is still high. He will eat what I make sometimes, but he's very picky and set in his ways at 58.
It's
You
tough.
know,
Really tough.
but, you're doing what you need to for you. And you know what? Speaking as the spouse who didn't want to eat the other way, eventually we come around. They'll come around at some point. So you just got to wait him out. And eventually he's going to go, something's going to happen. He's going to be like, I don't feel good or something. And then he's going to realize, oh, I should probably be eating this other way. So he'll come around.
Yeah. Wifey was right all along.
And Tanya says, I don't make any of that food, though. If he doesn't want what I make, he will take care of his own meal. There you go. That's great. I know I've hear so many people saying, oh, this is so hard for me to do because I have to cook 2 meals. I have to cook my meal and then I have to cook a meal for everybody else. And it's like, I don't think I ever remember a time when Kathy was like, if you don't want to eat what I cook, then you can fix something for yourself. And it took about 2 weeks of me trying to cook for myself that I decided that whatever she made was fine. And I would eat.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody else cooking for you is enough of a blessing that it really doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter what it is. Just
right?
eat it. Be grateful.
But that's also the double-edged sword that gets us into the predicament that we're in, because we're in such a society that's just a quick fix society that, it was very easy for me to go, well, I don't want what she's cooking, and so I'm going to go get me something from someplace I don't need to be going. Or I'll be back, I'm going to go get myself a chicken sandwich, kind of thing. And just totally not eat what she was cooking just because I was like, ooh, vegetables, right? So now life is so much easier. Just, you don't really have to think so hard about what you're going to eat. You've got your staples that you go to, your go-tos, and then you mix it up and you use all those staples and you make a different thing with everything. Your lunch is covered, your dinner's covered. I love it that way. I love that I don't have to think so much about what I'm going to eat.
The only way for me. Yes, absolutely.
It's like Kathy knows now. She's like, she pulls out some rice and then she says, what do you want on it? It's like, yeah, I'm happy with whatever's. As long as I can put it on rice or a potato, I'm happy, I love rice dishes. That's like my go-to for everything. Let's see. And Tanya says, like Kathy, I make most things from scratch, and that saves money. She makes her own milk, bread, seitan, etc. Yeah. And Tanya May says, I love eating whole food plant-based. It makes me feel good and happy. What I used to eat tastes so gross to me. I have been eating whole food plant-based for a little over a year now, and I've never felt so good in my life. It's life-changing. It just, you really, I mean, you cannot deny how much better you feel even after, like, if you're a really, really bad eater like I was, 3-4 days makes a difference. But, you know,
Yeah.
a couple weeks in and you're just like, why do I have this energy? Why do I feel so much better? I don't feel weighed down. I don't feel so inflamed, you know, and all those things, they make a huge difference. So congratulations, Tanya May, for making it a little over a year. Just keep going. It gets easier and easier. It really does. You'll find your groove. You'll find, you know, you'll have your aha moment, and you'll just keep on going. And Tanya says she has 2 teenage boys. So, yeah.
I can relate to that. I have 2 teenage boys myself, and I have 2 elementary aged boys. So
those are the ones that would bother me
food.
more.
Well, no comment, but yes.
I used to hang out with a bunch of elementary school boys when I was younger. There was only 2 girls in the neighborhood, and the rest of the kids were all boys. And we all played together. But, you know, there was always, the boys were always getting inspiration in odd places to do weird things. So we were at my house having lunch, and we were watching the TV, and it was one of those Towering Inferno or something like that movie. I don't remember this exactly, but my mother will tell you that the next thing she knows is the Barbie dream house is in the backyard on fire, and we're trying to save the Barbies. Because the neighbor boys thought it would be fun if we played Towering Inferno. So,
wow, that's amazing. Well, you know, as you can imagine, I have so many stories of crazy stuff that my boys have done over the years. But interestingly, my 4 boys, for whatever reason, have been relatively tame. You know, it hasn't been, you know, you hear all the time about people who have boys being in the emergency room every other weekend.
Yeah.
That hasn't been our experience, knock on wood, for whatever reason. They seem to do pretty okay. But I did have one son who, as a little guy, and now he's 11 now. So thankfully he's gotten past most of this. But when he was really little, like a toddler, or like very, very early elementary school, he did every classic thing that you're like, who would do that? It's like, he did it. And, I remember one time, like, walking into the room, I was in the kitchen, we have like an open floor plan. I'm in the kitchen, he's in the living room. And so we're in basically the same room. There's no wall between us or anything. And I remember rounding the corner into the living room, and he had a plastic bag over his head, and he was like tying it. It's like, oh my God, literally it says on the bag, do not put this on your head, you know? He would just do everything that could possibly lead to his own death and demise. It's just terrible. But so really, as a parent, it's really about survival. You are surviving them sometimes in different seasons. But I will say the teenage years are my absolute favorite. I love teenagers. I love my boys. I love their friends so much. I'm like obsessed. I totally love them. But the challenge right now, the big, big challenge, is keeping up with the food demand and really teaching them how to be, and sorry if this sounds stereotypical, but really teaching them how to be present and aware and comfortable with emotions, their own and others, and to keep some sensitivity and to keep softness and sensitivity emotionally. Because, you know, boys, and on the one hand, it's really fabulous. Having been a girl myself and grown up a girl, you know, there's not a lot of drama with boys. It's just, you know, so-and-so's a jerk, you kind of tell them so, and then it's over. You know, it's like, Whereas I remember being like in middle school and like my friends and I like crying all day at school, about each other at all times. There's none of that going on.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice, but it's also, you have to work, to keep them soft and aware of their emotions and in touch and responsive to emotions. So those are the things, but I love that work. That's fun. That's easy for me. I enjoy it. And they're just great boys.
Let's see. And Tanya did say that she doesn't do organic. I don't do organics, but sometimes I do, but most of the time I don't. And I think that's most of us, right? I mean, we go to Trader Joe's, we're getting something, and then we go over to the other side and we go, oh, that's 50 cents more to get organic. Let me go ahead and get that, right? I mean, we look at the prices. We go by what the prices are for sure. Yeah. And let's see. Tanya says, my teenage boys eat what I eat and make. When at their dad's, though, they eat whatever Omni stuff and with their friends. They are not picky, though, thank goodness. That's awesome.
Yeah, great.
And Apple says, I don't eat organic either. Sometimes it happens by accident. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mona's here. Hey, Mona, it's good to see you. And Tanya's following up with, from my post on what I used to eat tastes so gross, I did an experiment one day, got sick off of a donut.
Yeah. Donuts are so high in oil and fat.
They're just basically oil and fat held together by some flour and sugar.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll make you really sick. Oh, they're so delicious, though.
They are.
Ages. But I don't want to tempt fate,
Right.
Because the worst thing that can happen, I'm glad that the experiment turned out kind of okay. I hate that you got sick, but it's a good outcome that you got sick, because the experiment that my patients insist on running sometimes is they have whatever the food is and they don't get sick. And so then it becomes a thing like, whoa, I had cheese and I was fine. Well, It does end up catching up to you. It's just that our threshold, our tolerance for those things is different person to person. And so I just prefer not to tempt fate and stay well and enjoy the foods that.
Well, and I actually have a dairy allergy, and but I would eat dairy. I didn't care if I had a dairy allergy or not. I would eat it no matter how crappy it made me feel. And I would always say this with some great pride, that I know exactly how much dairy my body can handle. And so I can push it right up to that line. But then what kind of life is that when you're out with your friends and they're like, oh, hey, let's go get a milkshake. And you go, are we going straight home? Because I'm at my limit for dairy for the day. That's no life. There's no life.
And it shifts. It does shift as we get older. I find that the things that I'm sensitive to, I have way lower tolerance for them than I used to. Dairy is one of them for me too. Did you know that there is an estimated 70% of the world's population is lactose intolerant? 70.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like they do a lot of the same things with milk that they do with other things, and they put so much stuff in it that it just, I think
Well, it's that we're not meant to digest lactose past the age of 2. When we're weaned from breast milk, we don't have those enzymes because we're not meant to drink milk.
Right.
And here we are drinking not just milk, but milk from a different species, which is we're, by the way, the only species on the planet that does that. It makes perfect sense when you think about it logically. Like, we should basically all be lactose intolerant. It's more like a mutation to be lactose tolerant past the age of 2 when you think about it.
Yeah. If you think about it, just think about your circle of friends. And if you were to sit down and have an absolute honest conversation with them about, do you think you're lactose intolerant? I bet you if you had 10 friends, I bet you at least 7 of them would say, absolutely, I have some kind of intolerance, but I don't care.
Absolutely. Yes. Everybody I know who is my age, in my realm, in my world, even people who are still eating dairy, they've all switched to plant-based milk
Hmm.
for things like coffee creamer or cereal or those types of things. They're all, even like, I have loved ones that literally are like obsessed with cheese. They eat cheese constantly. Every meal, cheese, cheese, cheese. I was just like that, by the way, before I switched over. But tons of cheese. But nope, we better have almond milk for the coffee in the morning, and for the cereal. And it's like,
Well, and that's how we got my dad to switch. My dad never really liked milk that much, and but he would always have like a bowl of cereal in the morning. And so one time when we were there, we left oat milk in the refrigerator when we left because we couldn't take it with us. And so we just left
right.
it. And I said, just drink it if you want it. And so after we left, he tried it on his cereal. And from that point on, they eat oat or almond. That's all they get now. Except for my mom will still get some kind of crazy creamer thing because she likes really thick creamer in her coffee. But the next time we go, I think we're going to get some of that barista Oatly and see if that works for her as an alternative to her using the actual cream stuff. So let's see. And Tanya's saying, this goes to the comment I made about having to feed two people kind of thing. She said she hears from people that I have to feed another person. She says, I don't want to make two different meals. She hears people say that they don't want to make two different meals all the time. Yeah. And let's see. Mona says, 6 years in here at Tanya May, I found I cook way less now than I started. I do still love trying a new recipe. Yeah, so I said, you get in your groove, you find your things, and you get your go-tos, and you just do it. And let's see. Tanya says, I always played with boys growing up, too. I'm a boy mom through and through. I have a stepdaughter that's 18 years, and she is much more difficult. LOL. The boys are easy. They love their moms. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the truth.
And Elizabeth says, I spent 8 years of my life doing a vegan transition. And finally in 2024, I did the McDougall program and switched to whole food plant-based. My life is totally different, and I'm embarrassed about how long it took me. Don't be embarrassed.
No,
do not
my
be
goodness,
embarrassed.
no. Well, and also just think about it. It's like, okay, first of all, hindsight is 2020. So there's nothing to be embarrassed about. But also, you were doing a lot of good during that time. Think of all the animals that were not suffering. And listen, I'm not trying to like get on my vegan high horse here, but I will tell you, the longer you follow this way of eating, the more you really embrace every aspect of it, and ending animal suffering, and making a smaller carbon footprint and protecting the planet, those things begin to really matter to you. And I feel actually very passionately about ending, animal suffering, and trying to do as little harm to the planet and to animals and to people as I possibly can. And so, Elizabeth, you were doing those things during that time, even though you weren't necessarily reaping all of the health benefits because you weren't yet over to the whole foods side. You were doing a lot of good during that time, certainly much more so than I was.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And Tanya May says, I started out with the McDougall Starch Solution diet. Everyone asks me, don't you miss your meat? I say, not really. Don't you miss your dairy? No, I don't. So yeah, I mean, you get to the point where you're just like, you find what works for you, what works for your body. You find your groove and you just get in it, and you just feel better and you get healthier, and lots of great side effects from that, right? From getting healthier.
Absolutely. Yes.
Let's see. Mona says that I'm saddened that my tolerance for hot spice is now lower. A lot of people say that. Like, we have friends, and they're just like, I don't know if it's a guy thing or what, but they're like, spicy, spicy, spicy. Everything has to be super spicy. Our friend Doug, he one time did ghost peppers at the house that did not go well for him. I mean, I don't know why, but they got to have it all. But then they get really depressed if they can't handle the heat or something. Like it's this rite of passage or something. And I think it's funny.
It's a badge of honor. Like they're so proud of it.
Know,
I can say that because my husband is just like that. He is, and he'll just be sitting there at the table crying, with a Kleenex, crying, and he's like, "This is so good." And I, as someone who can't really handle spicy stuff, I mean, I can handle some, but not a lot. I can't identify with a desire to make yourself cry while you're having your food. Like that would ruin it for me. I wouldn't be able to enjoy it at all. And sometimes I ask him to try to explain to me. And actually, my boys love really spicy stuff too. Oh. They obviously got that from their dad because I'm nothing like that. But they just love it. They're like, yeah, it hurts so good. Like, oh, yuck.
I think it's hilarious. Yeah. So, Jeremy calls me Baby Spice, and
that's cute.
Actually, he calls me Baby Mild because that's what they call me at the Indian restaurant. Because when I order food, I have to order it Baby Mild for me to be able to eat it.
So funny.
And I wear it with a badge of honor. I'm like, yes, I am Baby Mild. Thank you.
That's so cute.
And Tanya says, I was vegetarian aged 13 to 26. Then culinary school made me go back to eating meat or basically fail my classes. Then I was always sick and didn't know why until I went vegan at 45 and no longer sick. So,
wow. Yeah.
Let's see. I'm trying to get through these last bit of comments so we can wrap up. We got to let Stacy go because she's a busy lady.
Yes. It's always fun being with you guys, though.
Looks like it's just a little bit conversation amongst folks, which I love when you guys get in there and talk to each other. It makes me very, very, very happy. And because you're making friends and got people to support you. Let's see. Kathy just popped in. Hey, Kathy. It's good to see you. My sister quit meat, dairy, and sugar overnight. She doesn't miss it at all. I make date sweetened treats, soy milk, bagels, cashew cheese, creamy, and entrees for her. That's fantastic. Yay. I think the people who can do it overnight, I think that's fantastic. Like, you guys basically did it overnight. You and your husband.
We did.
Just like, okay, we're done.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah,
for me, it was a little slower, kind of peer pressure getting in there and all that kind of stuff. But, I am really glad I did it. I wouldn't change it for the world.
It's so good.
Yep. So, any words of wisdoms for us to take with us onto our next week?
Oh, man. Words of wisdom. Well, just remember this is your journey. This is your journey, and you get to do it the way you want to do it. You don't owe this to anyone else. It's just for you. So, you know what, Cheryl? We didn't talk about what we planned to talk about at all, did we?
We've had such a lovely conversation going over there. We didn't even have to have any planted ideas today.
That's right. We sure didn't. But maybe next time we can talk about that. But, a big piece of what we were going to talk about, I'll just leave you with these parting words, is just doing this your way in a way that's very authentic to where you are and not paying attention, when you hear other voices, like even Cheryl and I sitting here talking about our experiences and how we eat, what we do and all this stuff. You can take that information in and keep what is useful and helpful and empowering to you and just throw away the stuff that isn't helpful and empowering and useful.
Right.
And so much of your ability to do that hinges on you knowing yourself. So let this journey that you're on of recapturing health and wellness and healthy body weight and whatever your goals are, let that be one of self-discovery, of really paying attention to how foods make you feel, how your choices are making you feel, the kinds of results you're getting from different choices that you make. You know, it could be that Cheryl eats a bagel for breakfast every day, and that's working just great for her, and the weight is continuing to fall off, as you guys can see, is the case for her. I mean, I'm not saying you eat a bagel every day, but you look amazing, Cheryl, and everybody wants the secret sauce, I'm sure, and you're like, rice and beans.
Yeah.
Right? But yeah, but all that to say, you know, even if it worked beautifully for Cheryl, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's the right solution for you. So take in all this wonderful education that we're giving you, that you're getting in other sources and things like that, and recognize I am still on my own journey. And at the end of the day, I am responsible for what I do and don't do. And I don't owe it to anyone. And so I'm going to do this in a way that gets me closer to my goals. And I may need to do it a little bit differently from how Stacy does it or how Cheryl or Kathy do it. So stay authentic, stay close to your why, your reasons for doing this, and stay in tune with your own body and your own happiness and enjoyment of this lifestyle, and just enjoy it. Find a way to enjoy the process.
Absolutely.
Because if you can enjoy the process, you can sustain it, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, when you know your why, when you're working on something that might be a problem for you, like you have some physical conditions, right, that you have to work on those. Work on yourself. Don't worry what everybody around you is doing. Doesn't matter what they're doing. You work on you, because I can tell you that once you sort those and you do what you have to do for you, it just all starts to fall in place. And then but you got to focus on you, what works for you, what works for your body type, what works for your genetics. Genetics of all of us is different, and everybody responds to things differently. So just take care of you.
Yeah, and that's not selfish.
Shut out all the negative noise.
Correct. Yes. And that's you putting on your oxygen mask before helping others. And for some, especially women, we are taught, no, it's, you got to be taking care of everybody else, and it's selfish to turn inward and take care of yourself. No, that's a lie. The better care you can take of yourself and your needs, the better you will be able to look outward and take care of others. So
absolutely,
put yourself first.
Absolutely. Once you put yourself first, it really makes all the difference in the world.
Definitely.
Okay, guys, it is running on to 2:30 here, and we need to get Stacy back to her work. And I have some stuff that I need to take care of today, so I am going to head out and do some chores and get ready for whatever our next adventure is. So thanks everybody for coming and hanging out with us. And Stacy, always, it is always a pleasure to have you with us, and we thank you so much for coming by. And we'll see
Pleasure's
everybody.
all mine. Thank you.